All right, so we have the 4th of July tournament. So there's free entries and only par fours. I haven't looked at this all week. I just finished playing the California Ultimate. So I doing the walkthrough. Because we're having tournaments just back to back to back to back to back. I don't usually like to focus too much on the next tournament until I finish the previous one. And it was kind of fun having the 9-hole cups because we had a couple days off every other week. But no more of that stuff. So we've got 3 different courses here. We got Sequoia Creek, we got Santa Ventura, and we got Wayzata Ranch, and it's only the par 4s. And I went to Tommy's site so that I could look, and he doesn't have anything up yet. So if I refresh, still nothing. So we've got 3 courses here. We got Sequoia Creek. Let's go find Sequoia Creek. Sequoia Creek. And now I have no idea what order these are in. So we'll just go look at Sequoia Creek. Is the Woodland Retreat? Where is the first Sequoia Creek? The Redwood Cup is the first Sequoia Creek. Is this all on Sequoia Creek? Sequoia Creek. Hole number 1 is a par 4. All right. So I have no idea in the tournament which order this is in, but we'll just go over the par 4s that are in this. Let's see. Let's go see if we can look at the freaking pictures here. Sequoia Creek. Which ones are Sequoia Creek? There's hole number 2. Got the water over there. That might be hole number 1. Is that hole number 1? I think it might be. It might be. That is hole number 1. All right. So hole number 1 is hole number 1 Sequoia Creek. We'll figure this out as we go along. So hole number 1. All right. You can, I suppose, try and go over here. But I believe we're going to try and get a bounce. I believe we're hitting off. I think we're hitting off of this and then bouncing it over, and you can get bounce number 2 and then bounce number 3 and then try and woe it up. Or you can get bounce number 1 and then you're hitting the rough and trying to bleed out. I think you're doing a second bounce rough bump is what we're doing on this hole. A bigger ball will help. Depending on your club level, topspin boost ball might help. This is definitely one of those shots that you need to hit perfect when you're coming through here. And it seems to me that I was playing this hole one time with Dunner, and he was doing the shot where he was bouncing off the island, and he was able to woe it up. But I was having more problems with that because of how much topspin you had to put on to get from this point to clear this river. That by the time you got to here, I was taking the risk of rolling off on the back. But I have seen a lot of people play that where they do bounce, 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 and then roll up to the green. Or you can do the rough bump. The thing with the rough bump is you really need to hit it perfect. And this is one of those holes where when you set it up, you can get bounce number 1, bounce number 2, bounce number 3. When you're trying to do the bounce, what you have to watch out for is on this rough area that's running along this line. Anything to the left, you've got to hit it. It's got to go farther in order to clear the rough. Or you'll clip that rough, which isn't a bad thing. Just roll you out and you'll be right there. But this is definitely a hole. We want to start this tournament off with an eagle on this par 4. And there's definitely a way to do it. Now, you can come from over here. If we can get our red line up into this range, we draw our lines here. Here's the tee box. We draw a line down into this area and we draw our arc across. We'd be out in this area right here, trying to come out into this area and get out over to here. I think the closest that you could get, like, you might be able to use the terrain down here to eke yourself a little bit closer, but as far as like trying to get on the green, this way is definitely the way. But I'm not sure that you can get it done with a mortal ball unless you do overpower. And if we're going to have headwind this week, I would definitely try and set this shot up so that you can pull back from the red line a little, set your shot up, and take the shot, so that on a day where we have a headwind, you've got a little bit of a gap. You can start off at the, I think with a Power 5 ball you can pull back a little bit from the red line and you don't have to do overpower, but I could be wrong on that. I could be. I could be. But I know that we have an opportunity to go straight at it this way, and that is the way I'm going to play it all week long. Now, whether I do the bounce, bounce, or whether I try and do a rough bump and just clip it out and give myself a shot at it, I will probably, we'll see how it goes through the week. We'll see what it takes to get out there and what kind of ball it takes, and I'll make that decision. But I'm definitely going to play this hole on the left. All right, that's hole number 1. What's the next Sequoia Creek? It's got the water behind it. And the last one is a straightforward one. Let's see which hole this is. Is it hole number 4? Par 3, par 4 right there. All right, so this is hole number 9. And hole number 9 is Sequoia Creek, hole number 5. Making some notes here while I'm doing it so I can try and get it right. So this is going to be hole number 9. This is another one of those holes. We have several ways that we can play it, and I'm not sure which way is best. The first, okay, we can hit it from over here and try and bring our ball this way. We can set up over here and try and bring our ball this way, or we can try and hit in between the trees. And the thing about hitting through the trees, if we draw a line, man, these holes are long ass holes. You can see where the pin is right up here, so keep that in mind. And so here's the tee box, and we're going to be going off in this angle right here. So if you're trying to go through the trees, you're on this trajectory, which means that at some point you need side spin, or you need curl, or you need something in order to get through that. And so you take the risk of, if you hit it great to the left or the right, or if you're using curl, but especially if you hit it great to the left or the right, that you tag the tree. And I think what I was doing when I was doing this was I was aiming. I've hit the shot in between the trees, but it's not my typical cup of tea. I would rather go around the trees where I have this side is completely clear, and then I'm trying to bring it around this direction. And that's typically the shot that I take here. If you bring out a big enough ball, I'm pretty sure you can start off on this side, and you can try and bring your ball around. So you've got this entire area over here. So if you want to use curl, it's kind of like a blind curl shot. You have to set it up once. Me particularly, I like to do max curl shots. So I don't, sometimes, almost every time when you take a drive, I'll put a little bit of curl on it for flavor, just to bring it back to the center. But when you've got a shot like this where you really want it to run its entire length down the fairway, I like to set those shots up. So, you know, I would set it up so that I could do a max curl shot, and I put it 3 rings off of this transitional surface right here. And my ball's going off in this direction, and I'm trying to clear this angle right here. And so I would set it up so that I do max curl, and if I ended up here, then I would start my shot off. It's almost like setting up a max overpower hook shot, but instead of doing the max overpower, I'm just trying to do the curl and trying to hit it perfect. And so if I was here and I hit it perfect, then I went here, then I need to move it in a little. So instead of being 2 rings off, I'll be maybe 3 1/4 rings off, and I'd set that shot up. The thing I like about hitting to the right here, and I've done both of these, both to the right, or excuse me, the left and the right. The thing I like about hitting to the left is it's more of the flow. It's that feng shui, right? Everything from the tee box to try and get to that area, it's just, you know, it just feels right to go to the right, to the left, and start off right here and just bring your ball along and get down on the green. Now I have clubs that have a lot of topspin on them, so there's a good opportunity for me to get all the way down here so that I either am on the green or I have a short little chip. And I have overdrove this before, but if you've got mid-level or lower developed clubs, this is where those topspin boost balls equalize the field. I may not have to use a topspin boost ball to get me there, but if you bring out a topspin boost ball, you can get to the same spot and get on the green. The other way to go is to set your shot up. So if we remember where the flagpole is, we're in line right here with the flagpole. And there's our tee box. So we're drawing a line like this to the flagpole. We can come out here and set up in this area and try and bring it like this so that you're going down. The problem that I have with hitting to the right and doing this shot is you really have to get it right, because if you don't put enough curl on it to bring it back to the left, once it gets caught in this rough, it is hard for it to get out of that rough. It just wants to stick it in it and run straight. And if you hit anything great to the right, now you got to hit it farther in order to get past the rough, and it's just so easy to get caught up in the rough here. Whereas this shot right here, once we get it set up, then we can go back and we can replicate that. And if we hit it great to the left or the right, we screw up, we're going to screw up. You know, we'd screw up in the same area down here, but I just feel like the shot to the left is a much better option. And I've done all three of those shots. And I've had some success on the shot to the left, because you can really set it up out here so that you can really try and throw it down. But even when I've hit it good here, I don't think I've gotten nearly as close as when I hit it to the left and try and run down the fairway and go right at the green. I'm going to play the shot to the left this week. I may look at these other shots just in case, like on a difficult wind day, I may change my shot up, or at least have these other shots in my bag, so that if I need to, I can take that shot. But the shot that I'm going to try and take every time this week is going to be the one on the left. If we have a big ass headwind day, this is a prime example here where if we have, I mean, we're in Ricky, so when we talk about big ass headwinds, you know, what are we talking? But if we have a headwind day, and even with a big power ball, you can't get over here, and you've got to pull back to this fairway in order to get down the run. This is where you need to start thinking big topper, because you could get into this area right here and be able to work the wind out with a big topper, and it has more topspin. So your extra mile may hit farther. Let's say you had a level 6 or a level 5 or a level 7 or even a level 9 extra mile. If you have to pull your extra mile back from here to here in order to clear the shot, now you're in your range where your big topper, and your big topper has, number one, it has more curl and it has more topspin. So you'd have a much better chance of picking up distance down here. And that's a shot that you definitely want to have in your bag if you're playing on this side and you've got to change from trying to overpower it over here, and you're just going to shoot it to this spot and try and run it down. I'm going to start the week off by trying to take the shot from here and try and run it down with my big topper, just to see if I can get that shot worked out. Because if I can get, I'm not sure how far we can get down there with a big topper if we were hitting from this area, but I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna take my shot from the left this week, but there are other ways that you can go at it. So you find your pony. If you hit perfect all the time, going in between the trees isn't a bad deal, because it's a pretty straight up shot with just a little bit of side spin, and you can get a definite good run to the cup. Definite. All right, that was hole number 9. Where's the next par 4? Par 4. Okay, this par 4 right here is the middle par 4. Now I gotta it's gonna reset. I want to write the stuff down so I can get it all worked out. What is the middle par 4? What is the middle par 4 at Sequoia Creek? Hole number 5. Hole number 5. And which hole is it in Sequoia Creek? It is hole number 7. Hole number 7. So hole number 5 in the tournament is hole number 7 at Sequoia Creek. All right. Now we have definite opportunities here, and you can do this with a power 3 ball and overpower, where you're trying to get your ball trying to go from the tee box getting your first bounce over here and trying to run it. This tree is surprisingly in the way. The trees on this course are redwoods, and they are monster trees. So you got your trunk down here, and like a normal tree, it's not very far from the ground to the first branches, but on these sequoia trees, it's a mile up to the top. So what you're really worried about is just the trunk itself, because the trunks are huge. but you can hit this tree. I have hit this tree before, trying to do a big curl shot, and hit the tree. So we don't be aware of that if you set up out here and you're trying to do some big overpower curl shot, that you could end up on the tree. And what we want, you see, is we want to get the run so that we come out into this area. Now I think angle wise, it's easier to try and get where you get a bounce here and then you come up and you end up here. And I have, on like a 2-ring grate to the left, ended up there, and it's not bad. But I've been in this sand trap. Me and the sand are extremely familiar with each other. It's easy to get in that sand because it's hard. It's your angle coming through there. That sand trap is just right the hell in the way. I'm going for just right out here in front. And if I remember correctly, even though you're right out here in front, there is definitely an adjustment that we need to do. We want to get out. If you play this hole when you're practicing, and you don't end up in this spot, but this is the area that you're hitting for, I highly recommend that instead of hitting out of the sand, hit over to that spot, because you want to take as many shots as you can from that spot, so that when you end up in that spot, you know what adjustment you need to make. Because I'm positive that we're doing something. It was like a +10, or we're doing some adjustment, even though you're that close. There was an adjustment that we needed to do from this spot, and we want to know what that adjustment is. I'm hesitant to say, because they've changed some of the stuff on these courses, and it's just a variable. I mean, they can go in there and adjust that variable at any time. And so we can come into it and go, hey, I played this hole 1,000 times, and it's always this. And until you take that shot and you do that and it goes in, you don't know, because they can go in there and change those variables. I'm playing to try and get right out here in front. But I wouldn't be surprised a few times this week, because I think this is an overpower shot, and if you hit it great to the left, you could end up over here. But I'm going for anything on the inside of that sand. But I think the easiest way to go, or the most consistent way to go, is to try and get right into this area, so that you're trying to stay on that side of the sand. We have a great opportunity. All 3 of these holes are tough ass holes, but all 3 of them give us serious opportunities to pick up shot. And I'm not sure about the Wiseacre Ranch ones, but the Santa Ventura holes, I think we should have some really realistic shots of getting eagles on those. So Santa Ventura, let's check out the Santa Ventura holes. Santa Ventura. Let's see what we got. So that hole right there was hole number 5 of the tournament, and it's hole number 7 of Sequoia Creek. Santa Ventura. Santa Ventura. Well, you'd think that would be up close, because Santa Ventura has been in the tour forever. There it is, Santa Ventura. Santa Ventura. We played like 1,000 tournaments at Santa Ventura. The Santa Ventura 9-hole cup. I'll bet you all of those holes are Santa Ventura. Hole number 1 is a par 4. Okay, let's look at this. Which one is Santa Ventura? There's water on that one. That one's going around the bend. This is hole number 7. So hole number 7 is hole number 1 at Santa Ventura. All right, let's go look at it. So this is hole number 7 right here. All right. Okay, first of all, for those of you that have lower developed stuff, or even those of you that have upper developed stuff, This hole has been around in the lower tours forever, since the game started. So if you start off over here with your extra mile, when your extra mile was brand new shiny right out of the box, it only has 2 1/4 topspin. And if you're in this area right here at Max Club, 2 1/4 topspin, a little bit of curl. I mean, like just a little bit of curl for flavor. I mean, you hit it perfect, you'll end up right out here, right out in front. If you put on any more than that, then you take the risk. If you've got a window right here, 2 1/4 topspin, a little bit of curl for flavor, side spin, just hit the ball perfect, you'll end up right out here in front. And you got an excellent, excellent shot. And in the past, pretty sure it's like a +10, somewhere in that neighborhood. I'd start there and see what the deal is, but like from out here to right there, you got a great shot. Depending on what ball you bring is gonna, like, you're probably being short iron, but I suppose if you brought out a big enough ball, you could work that out. But you could play this with a low power ball and you'll be in short iron, and probably not max, probably like mid or even minimum. Once again, just depending on what ball you bring out. The other thing you can do, and I'm going to tell you right now, I will never, ever, ever, and I've had to do this before because I've gotten caught out here because this course used to be in Tour 7, and from the pro tees, unless you bring out a big enough ball and you've got tailwind, you can't really get out here with a marlin. So hitting off of the island sucks, because this island is domed. And so anything, like there's one perfect blade of grass up there that if you hit that blade of grass, you'll go in the direction that you wanted. But if you don't hit that blade of grass, you're going to go off in some odd angle, and it is drastic, and you'll end up in the shit. And this is a really easy hole in Ricky to end up just literally 2 1/4 topspin, Max Club, a little bit of curl for flavor, side spin. You can get right there. Straight up shot to the cup. You can bring out a big ball and try and get up into here and try and get your bounces so that you get a bounce right here in front and you bounce over that sand and try and get a run to it. I've ended up over in this area more often than I think I've made it on the green like once. I've overshot it where I got my bounces just right, and I actually overshot it and ended up in the sand in the back. But it is possible to get yourself around the bend and do it. There is a max overpower hook shot that you can do here, where you can try and get that same kind of deal. Now, if you've got an APOC that's got, like an APOC 6, it's got its curl, you can try and it's got its distance. You can try and just come out here and do a max overpower shot and just try and bring it around. This is one of those holes that you are literally going to have to bring out your clubs and your ball inventory if you're trying to go 4-1. But you can literally come out here on a tailwind day with a marlin and hit from right there. You do not have to have anything special, and you can put yourself right down here to the tip and have this second shot every single time and be in the perfect spot. All you got to do is hit it perfect in the cup. Or you can go for the green. I'm going to play it by ear. I'm going to shoot it out here at least a couple times so that I can get this, what kind of percentage I need to do. But I'm going to try and go for the cup. Every time this hole comes out in tournament, I'm always like, I'm going to try and go for the cup. And I have. And several times I've been over to the right side, but normally I end up in the sand. Consistency wise, I would highly recommend that you just hit it right here. Practice this shot, because the thing is, the next time you come out here, you can get to the same spot, and the next time you come out here, you can get to the same spot, and the next time you come out here, you can get to the same spot. The record's on the needle skipping. Every time you can get to the same spot. That means that the second shot is the same every time, every time, every time, every time. Now, we're dealing with different wind directions and that, but that we can work with that. You've got a very consistent shot from here. But if you try and get on every time, if we get, because we got to do it with overpower. And we get in a day where we got tailwind, okay, hey, we made it. We get in a day we got headwind, now our ball's all screwed up. We're trying to do the max overpower hook shot, and the wind was blowing this direction, and we got screwed up. And then the wind was blowing this direction, and we were okay, we made it over here. My inclination is to go for it, but the deal is consistency is key. And on these par fours, being in the spot where you can get eagle every single time, you got a perfect shot. You don't have to worry about taking it with your sand wedge where you got to try and hit perfect. Now, if you have a precision ball, if you have precision balls, that might be a different story, because you could go for it, and if you don't make it, you're in a spot where all you got to do is hit perfect. So if you have an inventory of precision balls, this would definitely be a hole for a precision ball, because you could try and go for it. And if that doesn't work out, then you still got an awesome shot. And I don't know, I would rather, if I had a precision ball, I'd take the sand from the shot from the sand right here over this shot every day. Because this shot right here, all you got to do is hit it perfect. At least with a Spitfire. I can't speak about any of the other ones. Spitfire. And how long have I been using my Spitfire? Since the day I got it. Because I think it starts off with 120 distance and some topspin. Okay? 120. That is big when you've got lower developed stuff. So like, I've been playing with it, and it's been in my bag ever since. I've only pulled it out a couple times for certain holes where I need a backspin club. I'm gonna look at my inventory. If I have a ball that's got precision, I might go for it. But otherwise, I'm just gonna lay it up. All right, that's hole number 7. What's the next par 4? It's got to be hole number 4, hole number 5, hole number 6. All right, what is hole number 6? Okay. Which hole is this? Ah, dang it. It's either going to be hole number 2 or hole number 4, one of the two. Yeah. Must be hole number 4. It is hole number 4. So hole number Santa Ventura, hole number 6 is hole number 4 in the tournament. All right. We have 3 ways that we can play this hole. Let's cover the ways. When this hole first came out, I had mid-level stuff. And trying to get to the left or to the right. To the right, my buddy Dale Appleby has this shot worked out where you hit to the right and you just try and lay it up right here, and then you got a straight up shot. And I will tell you that you do have a nice shot from right here, but you have a ton of fucking work to do. The green from this angle is uphill and side. So you're hitting onto a surface that's like this, and and the ball wants to move. So the deal is that from here, even if you hit it perfect and you made a perfect wind adjustment, you could still miss the cup, because as it hits the green and starts to roll off towards the cup, it's getting sucked to the right, and you can get off trajectory. And so you have in my opinion, this is why I don't do this shot. Dale hits perfect every single time he hits the ball. So for him, it's not a big risk to come out here and to try and set that up and hit a perfect shot. But I don't hit perfect all the time, and this, in my opinion, is a ton of work. Okay? That's why I don't do it. I would rather than hit up here, go from this through the trees. Now, this is better if you've got a club that's got a ton of topspin, and there is a lane. You can't get like over the trees, but you can get your bounces to kind of go in between the trunks and hit the rough on the other side, and you can bleed out and end up in the fairway right there, or end up in a worst case, in my opinion, a worst case scenario, you actually roll onto the green, because this is an older hole and these greens are pretty big. If you end up in the fairway right here, this you still have some work to do. Okay, congratulate yourself that you ended up in the fairway, but understand that you still got some work to do, because this is one of those things that the hole is running down like this, and it is running pretty steep. So when you take this shot coming up, you've got to anticipate, not because you don't have to worry about wind from this distance. The wind's not really going to be a factor. But what is going to be a factor is the slope on the green, and it's going to pull your ball to the right, and you could easily, the cup's here, and you got your ball guide going right at it, and you hit perfect, and then the ball ends up right here because everything was downhill, and the ball just sloped off, just rolled off with the green. So you have to expect that it's going to do that and set it up not necessarily high, but you want to be aware that it's going to drop. I had some, like maybe 2 times out of 10, I would actually get to the fairway, but almost all the time I was in the rough. Now the good news is that from the rough here, if you hit it perfect, or even a great to the left, you have a really good shot of it going in. And it was maybe a 30 to 40% of the time I made the eagle on this hole. From the trees. So you can do that. But we have topspin boost balls out now that we didn't have before. And those topspin boost balls, it's hard to get out of this freaking rough because you're hitting it right in here and you got a ways to go. You really need to pump it through there. Max overpower and just really run it through. But with these topspin boost balls, you might be able to just get it through and get on the green. The other way to go is from right here. And this is the shot that I'll be taking all week. This is the second par 4 that I ever got a hole-in-one on. We're going to be coming through this direction right here. That's the way we're coming through. And I'm going to set up right here where that shadow's at. And I've, in the past, always done a 10% on the drive. And I've been able to do this with a Kingmaker. And what we're looking for is the 3 side spin. That's key. Because you don't need all the topspin. Very little topspin. Now when you take this shot, this is going to be one of those shots that you have to imagine in your mind's eye. You're coming through like this, and you're in this area. And I've taken this with my extra mile. So you can easily do it with an extra mile, and it doesn't have to have a lot of its stuff. It doesn't need a lot of topspin because you're not going to use a lot. It's just the power. We want to get up into that pocket. Your second bounce is going to be in the sand right here because you put your side spin on. And so you've given yourself, let me zoom in a little bit closer. You've given yourself 2 rings of separation out here, and your ball guide's going out like this, and your second bounce is right here in the sand. And that's with your side spin. So you were off like this, and you put your 2 side spin on if you use the Titan, or 3 side spin with a Kingmaker. You're right here. You're in the sand. You're going to put a little teeny. You don't want to move it this way. You don't want to pinch yourself up against this. You want to give yourself clearance from this tree. And so you can put on just a little teeny bit of curl, and you got to think about how your second, this is your first bounce, this is your second bounce. And when you put curl on it, it's gonna go on this arc, and your second bounce is gonna end up right here in the rough and clip the rough and roll off down towards the hole. What you don't want is for your second bounce to hit the fairway, because if it hits the fairway, there's a good chance that it's going to hit the fairway, and because this is so steep, it's going to roll down, and you're going to end up in the sand on the backside, or you'll end up in a little bit of rough, but more than likely you'll end up in the sand. You really want to clip that rough. So you got to be thinking of your arc. So you're going off in this direction, and your second bounce is in the sand, but you got to think about when you put your curl on there, your curl is going to change the shot so that your second bounce is now right here where the rough is. You clip the rough and you bleed off towards the cup. And you've got a serious opportunity. Now, I don't care about the hole-in-one. You got a serious opportunity for eagle. And we need to get, this is a hole that we definitely have an opportunity to get an eagle on. But it takes a little bit of work to set it up. And depending on which way the wind's blowing, I think even on a headwind day with a 3-power ball, you do have a little bit of room here to work the wind out. What we don't want to do is have to do any overpower here. So, like if we were in a situation where we had to do overpower, it might be better to bring out a power 4 ball. And with the APOC, I think it's a little bit better because you can, it gives you a little bit more power so that you can adjust your starting spot. But this is a great hole. I'm going to play only to the left this week, but I will tell you that shit, I don't know how many turns is this. It's only been here in the last couple years that I've started hitting this shot. In the past, I always just hit through the trees. It's one of the few holes that I would say that hitting through the trees is an option. I'm not a big fan of hitting through the trees, but, and I would say only maybe, hell, not very often. A very, very small percentage of the time that I ever end up where I was in a spot where I was behind the trees and then I was like scrambling. Usually had a pretty good shot from the rough. We got a great opportunity on that. Great. And what's the last of the Santa Ventura par 4s? Hole number 8. This one's got all the water in it. Oh man, this is a tough asshole right here. Santa Ventura, what is the last Santa Ventura? So this is hole number 2. So hole number 2 is hole number 8 in Santa Ventura. All right, man, we got all kinds of options on these holes. Let's go for the big stuff. You can lay yourself up right here, and then you've got a shot coming at the cup, and there is a rough bump that you can do right here. And this rough bump is kind of tricky. It's one of those, there's definitely an adjustment that we need to make on this rough bump. And it's easy. And this is one of those types of holes that it almost feels like on a headwind day, I'm just gonna throw out some numbers. I'm not saying that these numbers are accurate. Just as an example. On a headwind day, you might do plus 20, and on a tailwind day, you might do plus 10. If you're going to do this rough bump, because it is super easy to be in the right spot down here and to do this rough bump and end up in the sand. It's got a fairly good backboard on it. Hold on. It has a pretty good backboard on it, so if you come flying in there, there's a good chance that you're going to stick on the green. I mean, it is kind of hard to get on the backside, but getting caught in this rough, doing this rough bump, and that really is the best way to come at it if you're coming at it from this direction. Now, what you can do, too, is you can bring out a big enough ball so that you can start off from the rookie tees. You can start off in here and try and get bounce number 1 and fly over and end up on this fairway. And you really want to have your trajectory right, because it is easy to end up in the drink. And you can go for this down here. I've done it. I've done this shot several times where you end up along this path and then you're still doing the rough bump. When you're in a shorter club down here, you do have the opportunity to try and go right at it. Like if you could get down here into your short iron range and you had a thorn, you could try and backspin it up there to it, and you'd have a pretty decent shot. I think most people that are going to play it to the left, or excuse me, play it to the right, are going to lay it up. But there is the opportunity to try and get over if you want to risk it. This is a hole right here. Of the holes we've looked at so far this week, this hole right here is going to eat people's lunch. There's going to be more people who fail on this hole and end up with a par than any of the other holes we've seen so far. This hole is dangerous. So even trying to go for this spot right here is dangerous, because if you don't end up in the fairway here, you could be in a spot of bother trying to get on the green, depending on what ball you brought. So playing to the right can be doing the layup shot, going all the way up here, and going up here is definitely risky. Now let's talk about playing to the left. In one-on-one play, I try and end up right here between these shadows, these two shadows. Now, if you draw a straight line to the cup, you got to remember that this tree is out here, and if you're trying to do this shit, where you're out in this area and you're trying to go straight up and you're like going to curl it around and do the whole thing, or I'm going to put a little bit of curl on it to make it, that tree will tag you. That tree will remind you the hard way that it is there. So normally if I'm out in this area and I'm trying, and I get in a wind, or I get in a situation where I'm going to put a lot of curl on it, I'm going around the tree. And I really don't. But I have set this shot up and then forgot. Even though I sit here and say it right now, I have forgotten that tree's there, and end up trying to go straight at it because I got to look at it and I've got the distance and I can get down here and then I forget that tree's there and I tag it. You can, if you're hitting from the tee box, try and get yourself around the bend so that you end up out in this area. You'll see a lot of people do this shot this week and they'll end up in the rough or the sand over here where they overshot it. I'm going to go for the shot that's over on the left-hand side and try and get as much distance down here as I can where I'm like either in this shadow down here so I got a straight up shot at it. And the reason I'm going to do that is I like, if they let me go out there and drop my ball right on this path, I would play from over here, but they don't let us do that. They make us shoot to get out there, damn it. And it is risky to try and get over there. And this is a hole right here that I think a lot of people in our bracket are going to fail on, and I don't want to be one of them. Are there going to be people in our bracket that get an eagle on this hole? Yes, but I will guarantee you that this is going to be, of the ones that we've looked at so far, this will be the one that gets the least amount of eagles on it. Now with the topspin boost balls that are out there, I think the last time we were here with like a topspin boost ball, you can, there is a bigger opportunity to get over here. Or you could start off with like a power 5 ball with topspin boost and just run all the topspin, and you can get, you're running off in this angle right here, so you still have to put a little bit of curl on it to bring it around. But there is opportunities to get over here. I'm not gonna discount this week. But my plan going in is to play it on this side right here and just try and get out here into this shadow and then take the straight up shot. It's kind of difficult to get over here it's more difficult obviously from the pro tees to try and get around into this area right here, because you kind of start off right here and do a curl shot. This is a hole you definitely have to practice. Definitely have to practice in order to get into that zone. The rookie tees are much easier because we can get out into this area where we can get a run to try and get up to that shadow. All right, that was hole number 2 of the tournament. Hole number 8 of the regular Santura. So now we got Wiseacre Ranch. Wiseacre Ranch. I have the least amount of time on these Wiseacre Ranch holes. Wiseacre Ranch. See if there was one. Are these all Wiseacre Ranch? Wiseacre Ranch. Okay, hole 1, par 4. Let's see which hole that is. And they're gonna make me fire it back up again. Because you guys keep spending so much time talking about these holes. These holes have a lot of different ways that you can play them. And thinking about it critically so that you can go out there with your clubs and think about like how you want to play them. Wiseacre Ranch, which is the first one? Hole number 3 is the one with the water across it. Which one are we looking at here? Which one are we looking at? This one does not have the water going through it. Wiseacre Ranch. Is it hole number 8? I think it is. I think this is hole number 8. So hole number 8 is hole number 1 at Wiseacre Ranch. This hole right here, if you bring out the right ball, you can get a window on this side. And if I'm not mistaken, I think you have to bring out, I think you can get there with a power 3 ball if we have a tailwind day or a pure sidewind day. But if we've got a headwind day, I think you've got to bring out a bigger power ball in order to get to the spot, because you can't get there. And I think it's an overpower shot if you bring out a power 3 ball on these 2 days. And so you're not going to get there on a headwind day. So if you bring out a bigger power ball, you can start off there. And when you're running it, like we'll draw a line here from the flagpole to the tee box. Okay, we got a bunch of sand in our way, and we're trying to start off right here. So we're trying to hit in this direction, and we're skirting the top of the sand trap. I'm going to try and start off as far as I can. Now, this is one of those things where I like to give myself 2 rings of separation, where I'm going to try and give myself 2 rings away from this rough. I'm going to pull my shot as far as I can to the left so that I can give myself as much room right here as possible, so that my shot's going out more in this direction, and try and bring it around. I think in most situations you're just trying to get out here in front and you still have a ton of work to do. If I remember correctly on the second shot here, the second shot is like this, where the flagpole's on a hillside. So even when you're out here in this spot trying to hit it to the cup, you still have a lot of work to do. Like, it's no gimme. This green's not flat. So if it's flat, it's not too bad when you're out in this distance to try and get it up there. But even if you get to the perfect spot on the drive, you still have a bunch of work to do on the second shot. It's not over yet. But I'm definitely going to be trying to skirt myself along this direction. Now, I see a lot of people where they're trying to get their bounces and try and clear it so that they can cut some distance to the cup. And I see most of those people end up in the sand. I want to stay away. I would rather be out here in the clear and give myself... I want to set my shot up so that if I hit a great to the right, I'm still skirting the sand. I'd have to hit a 2-ring great to the right before I get into the sand. That way a 2-ring great to the left is out here. And what you have to watch out for on a 2-ring great, or even a great to the left, is that you can overshoot it. So if you hit it perfect, you can go a little bit farther. But if you hit a great to the left, you can't go as far. So the way I like to set these shots up is put on enough topspin that if I hit it perfect, I'm here. If I hit it great to the left, I'm still in the fairway, because I don't hit it perfect every time. You can bring your big topper out right here and try and run it as far as you can with your topspin and get it out here into your short iron range, and you wouldn't have to bring out anything big, and it wouldn't matter whether the wind was blowing headwind, tailwind. You could set this shot up so that you're going off in this direction and you're trying to cover this angle, and with a big topper it has a ton of topspin and a ton of curl. So you could set it up into this spot, and you could set up a max curl shot with your big topper and run all your topspin and try and get yourself into the same range. You could probably do it with a lower power ball. I think you could get a little closer if you start off on the other side. When we practice that, I'll check out both of the shots, but this is the shot that's I think is optimal, but sometimes you have to take the shot from the back. All right, what's the next one? It's either 3 or 6. Let's go look at them. Wiseacre Ranch, 3 and 6. 3 is the one with the water. Now they both got water. It's the one with the water that cuts it. Is that hole number 4? Yeah, I think that is. I think that right there is hole number 3. Let's make a note. Let's make a note. Hole number 4 is hole number 3. This hole, oh man, the last time we played this hole, when was the last time we played it? Was it the Summer Major this year? Is that this year's Summer Major? The last time we played this hole, hey, hole number 6. Hey. Yeah. Is that the hole? I think that is the hole. Wiseacre Ranch, hole number 6. This one. Hole number 4. Excuse me. If I can get back to it. Hole number 4. All right, I like to play in this area right here. You can play this with a 2 power ball. You can play it with a katana. This is where a 2 power ball that's got lots of topspin. If you're running a 2 power ball and you're running from here to this area, we're in this pocket and we're trying to cover this angle, it's hard to get yourself where you're going through the gap here with just a regular 3 side spin ball. So you can't put on all the topspin or you'll end up in the rough right here. If I remember correctly, It's not much. It's like 2 or 3 topspin, and that's it. If you run any more than that with a 3 side spin ball, you're going to end up in the rough. But if you lay yourself up right there, you got it really good. A 4 side spin ball works better because and you can set it up in the same spot. But a 4 side spin ball, it's a max curl shot, 4 side spin. So the 4 side spin will get you so that you can run down through the lane. 5 side spin ball works even better. It doesn't need to be any bigger than a 2. Now, if we have a headwind day, you may need a 3 power ball. So if you have a bigger inventory of 3 power balls with 5 side spin or 4 side spin, that might be a ball to use every shot. That way you could just make it every shot and you just set it up. This will be a great hole. This is a great opportunity right here to get a eagle, because we can work this out so that we can get up into this area. And depending on what clubs you have, if you've got lower developed stuff or you don't have an APOC, we'll have to work on it. I think you might just have to lay it up right here and then take this second shot. You can, and in one-on-one I do it all the time, you can hit out into here. And I think there is a rough bump that you can do from here, but I'm not sure if you can do it with you'll have to look. I'm not sure if you can get the rough bump with the Grizzly. I think it's a little short. And I might be wrong on that. But there is a great rough bump that you can do from over here, from distance. But you might have to use a Goliath. So we have several different ways that we can go at it. It seems like it'd be pretty damn easy to go from here to here. But it's not as easy as it looks, because our red line is like right in this area right here. So if you're trying to go that direction and you're here and you're trying to get a bounce to get over, it's kind of hard to get all the way into the pocket unless you want to go around. And you'll have to pick your pony. This shot right here going over the river and trying to lay it up right there. I mean, there is, you definitely want to set it up. You definitely need to be in the right spot every time. And you need to hit perfect. I'm never really concerned about from this spot hitting into the river, because you really have to screw up in order to get into the river, in my opinion. But we do have the opportunity to get all the way up there to the green, right off the green. I like this hole. We got a great opportunity on that hole. So the last hole here is hole number 6, and hole number 6 is going to be hole number 7. So Wiseacre Ranch hole number 7 is hole number 6. What are our opportunities here? All right. Man, we got lots of ways we can play all these holes. In one-on-one, I always lay up right here. You can come out here with a Marlin. You can do bounce number 1, roll it out, end up right here, and you got a straight up shot to the cup. And I think it's with a sniper from here. Straight up shot. Marlin. Okay? Nothing special. Pretty much any driver in your bag, you can start from right there, hit it over to there, bam. Now, depending on what driver you're using, you're going to have to watch out how much topspin you put on so you don't overshoot it. But it's pretty easy to lay it up right there and straight up to the cup. I do that. That's the only shot that I take when I'm playing this hole in one-on-one. The deal is that when you're playing, if you want to go from here and you're going to try and rough bump it out so that you end up out in this area, the second shot, you worked your ass off to get to here. Depending on the wind, you may have had to bring out something special in order to get there. And now your second shot is, here's the sand, and here's the cup, and there it is tough. You need a club with backspin, or you need a ball that's got lots of side spin so that you could try and start off on the side and bring it around. And I'm not sure how much you can do that. You're still going to have to get up, I think, towards the tip up here if you wanted to bring it around with side spin, and you're still going to have a lot of backspin in order to get that close so that your side spin's effective. So from this area out here, I mean, if you're going straight to the cup, you don't have much room. That's why you'll see a lot of people when they come out here, they're taking this shot and they're trying to bring out something big, and they're trying to, if they're hitting here, they're trying to hit here to just barely get any of the fairway, and they're putting on max curl, max right-hand side spin, and not all of the top spin, just to try and get themselves pulled this direction as much as they can so that they can open up the window so they have a straight up shot and they can get on the outside of that sand. I would say this is going to be the shot you're going to see most people do this week. People that come out with lower power balls are going to hit it over here, but most people are going to either do the rough bump where they hit here and they try and rough bump it out, or they're trying to suck it up as far as they can. I'm not doing any of that shit this week. This is going to be a make or break hole for me. This is the risk versus reward. So I'm going to bring out a power 5 ball every single time we get on this hole, whether it's headwind, tailwind, sidewind, I don't care. And I'm going to try and start off in the fairway. I'm going to start off in the fairway. And I'm trying to get bounce number 1, bounce number 2, clip that rough, and bleed out and end up right there so I have that shot to the cup. Now I will admit, at least half the time I take this shot, I'm in the rough or I'm in the sand. But I'm in that situation where I'm so close that if I hit it perfect, it's going in the hole. And if I bought a precision ball on this, if I had any power 5 precision balls, this would be a great opportunity to do it. I can't remember, I'm sure that I've ended up in the drink. And it was probably on a headwind day, trying to muscle it through there. Because you got to judge where that second bounce is going to get with overpower, and the headwind's laying it down between this bounce and the second bounce. So the first bounce might be fine, but the second bounce gets laid down. So you really got to be careful. This is one of those things where it's really the most important part of a rough bump is hitting the rough, and it's super easy to, because you got to do overpower on this. It's super easy to get bounce number 1, and then you totally clear, and then you hit, and then you're woo into the rough. But I'm going to be going for this area right here every single shot this week. That's what I'm going for. This is one of those holes that that's my pony. I don't like this shot from here. Not that it's, something that you can't just get up there and recover and get your birdie and move along, little doggy, but I'm going to say right now that I'm not afraid of the water. However, I guarantee the first time I take this shot this week, I'll probably end up in the drink. But I'm going for the other side every time. I personally would rather take this shot from right here and take the straight up shot than the shot here. But it just depends on your clubs. If you can get into short iron range down here and you've got a thorn, then you got backspin and you can really try and go for it. Got a lot of opportunities on this hole. This course has got a lot of opportunities to pick up shots. But I still think that the one that we talked about that was in Santa Ventura, what's hole number 7 in this tournament, is going to be the one. Is it hole number 7? That's going to be the one that's going to eat a lot of people's lunch. We got a great. I like par 4s. I think that the way you make your living in golf class is by being consistent on par 4s. It's always good to get hole in ones, and it's always good to get albies. But those should be the shots that win the tournaments for you. What got you to the point where you could win the tournament was by being consistent on par 4s. And these par 4 tournaments, I like them. I don't know how many we've had, but I know that I've done really well in these par 4 tournaments. It seems like I've won at least a couple of them. And so this will be an interesting week because there are a lot of opportunities to make shots out there. Thanks for watching. That was the... man, how long was that? That took an hour. It did. It took an hour. There is a lot of different ways to play those holes. So just depending on what clubs you have a lot of different opportunities to make it. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, hit subscribe, hit the like button, ring the bell, do all that good stuff. I will see you on the next one. Let's see, we got, the tournament starts tomorrow because we're just tournaments back to 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 back. So tomorrow I will practice. We don't need to practice in the practice round. We could go out on holes that we're really having a difficult time on and we could waste our practice tokens, but Monday's a great opportunity to practice. I highly recommend trying to qualify at least on Tuesday. If you wait until Wednesday to try and qualify, that doesn't always work out. Give yourself some time. But tomorrow I will practice tomorrow morning, and we can take a look at the holes and see what we got going on, and I will see you there. Be safe, my friends.